Hello, welcome to all of you for joining us today for our session highlighting our education abroad portfolio in Europe. We are so grateful that you are here. Before we launch into highlighting programs, I think we're going to do some introductions of our staff and alumni who are here to share their experiences. I'm Kirsty. I'm one of the advisors in the Education Abroad office, and I advise students with last names L or A through L.
Hi, I'm Jen. I'm Kirsty's counterpart, and I'm the advisor for students with the last names M through Z. Nice to meet you. Thanks for coming today.
Hi everyone, my name is Daria Ogaz. I am a specialist in the office, so I work with all of our faculty-led programs. Yeah, thanks for being here.
And Sam and Masha, you want to introduce yourselves?
Yeah, hi, I'm Sam. I'm a fourth year at SU, and I studied abroad in 3 places. I studied in Puebla, Mexico, Dublin, Ireland, and Salamanca, Spain.
Hi everyone, I'm Masha. I'm also fourth year at SU, and I studied abroad in Prague, the Czech Republic of last year. So fall 2020 or 2019, yeah.
And Leanne, would you like to introduce yourself as well?
Yeah, hi guys. I'm Leanne. I'm a representative of Academic Programs International and affiliate partner of Seattle University. And yeah, nice to meet you.
Thank you. So as we're getting started, we did want to just kind of address what might be on all of our minds as we're doing this remotely and talk about just the context of COVID-19 and studying abroad. As we are doing this remotely, obviously we're not in person on campus, and there is a travel restriction currently for SU students to study abroad, so we don't have any students currently studying abroad. We are monitoring and waiting to see what the university decides to do for winter and spring quarter upcoming. That decision has not been made. That being said, planning early is really important to studying abroad. So if you are interested in going abroad anytime during next academic year at all, you will be applying for programs during this upcoming winter quarter. And so it's, even though it's kind of far off in the distance, is something that's not a reality at this point. We're hopeful that the world will reopen in some capacity to allow for students to still have this really amazing, transformative experience. And we are here to support you along the way. If you have questions, concerns, anything, we are here. So launching into what might be some of the benefits of studying abroad in Europe, in this region? And I'm going to open that up to our alumni to share first. Masha and Sam, if you want to jump in, what were some of the benefits of studying abroad in Europe specifically for you?
Yeah, I can go first. So I studied abroad in the Czech Republic, which is not a super common place to study abroad. At SU, there haven't been that many people to study abroad there. But what led me to decide to go to Prague is because it's more the eastern side, like central eastern side of Europe versus western, which is much more popular. And the best thing about Europe is that you are able to travel absolutely anywhere in Europe, and even in like the Middle East and Asia, depending on like travel restrictions. And you're able to do so for very, very cheap in comparison to where you'd be flying and paying like over $1,000 to fly from here. There, I found flights to Switzerland. Like when I went to Switzerland with my friend for a weekend, we went for $70 round trip, which like is on the more expensive side of flights. You can definitely find cheaper flights to places. So it's just super easy to travel, and you just get so much information and so much culture from so many different countries, and it's all very nearby.
Yeah, definitely going off of that. I think like domestically too, like if you're, so I, when I studied in Spain, they have like a really great like train system. And so I was able to go to a lot of places just in kind of like that peninsula. And it was like really easy to do. And so I think also just like, even if you wanted to travel and really explore the country that you're in, like Europe has an amazing transportation system and each country does too. So it's great like to just do that and do fun weekend trips. But yeah, I really enjoyed kind of flying cheaply as well to different places and being able to kind of accommodate exploring, but still within a budget.
Thank you. Yeah, that's definitely one of the benefits of studying in this region. But you both highlighted so well. Some other things that we have identified are just kind of being able to learn about the complex and historical relationship between US and different countries in Europe from another perspective, and from a local perspective of what their experiences with the United States. I think it's a helpful learning experience, even to learn about our own identity as students at U.S. institutions. We already talked about traveling, of course. Most countries also in Europe use English for tourism. So certainly you can study a language when you're, if you're studying in a country where English is not the dominant language, of course. And students have reflected to us that they feel like not only is it easy and kind of less expensive to travel while you're in Europe, but it's also pretty easy just linguistically to get around because of that. Also, we highlighted that some other things just regionally, what's happening in Europe, a lot of European countries are addressing things like climate change more aggressively than the United States. So being able to kind of see what that looks like in another country and learn from that can be helpful. Similarly, in terms of other social and political programs, experiencing what it's like to live in countries where healthcare and education and public transportation are funded more so than in the United States, and see and learn from local people what their perspectives on that is. And then also some students use this as an opportunity to connect with family heritage. If you have family from a particular country in Europe, maybe that would be a motivator to go to a specific place. So launching into programs, we're going to highlight some of our programs. There's a lot of programs in Europe, so we're going to show you visually where they all are of our sponsored and exchange programs. But within, if you've attended an info session, we talk about how there are different types of programs at SU: sponsored, exchange, non-SU, faculty-led programs. But there's also some different structures within that. So that's the way that we're going to categorize the programs today. So the first structure or type are local university programs. So you can see from all the green dots on the screen, that's where all of SU has partner affiliate programs. In anywhere where there's a green dot, we would categorize that program as a local university. And what that means is that you are taking classes at a local university. Your courses might be with local students if you speak the language of the host country, or they might have courses specifically for international students. So you'd be taking classes with students from all over the world. And within this structure, it's very, I would say, similar to being at SU in that you have classes at set times outside of your schedule of coursework. You can kind of do what you want. There's a lot of independence built into this structure. And so some ones, we're going to start highlighting a few. And the first one is in Iceland.
Reykjavik University is very closely connected to the industry of Iceland. This gives our students a unique opportunity to have access to industry, specialists, and opportunities that very few other universities can offer.
Something that I really liked is that it was Iceland, and I just wanted to come here. So it was perfect. I could study and come to an amazing place at the same time.
You have study spaces, you have lecture halls, you also have a really nice library where I study a lot. Everything is so modern and innovative.
It's an opportunity for me to learn a number of innovative renewable energy technologies and being able to utilize them when I go back home.
Our primary purpose is to educate the specialists and the leaders of the future.
So this program that we partner with API, and I'll have Leanne talk more about this, is an SU-sponsored program. And I don't know if Leanne, if you want to provide like a short, brief overview of the program.
Yeah, happy to. Hi, guys. So this is the API Reykjavik program in Iceland. The focus, as you can see, is business, computer science, and engineering. So as this SU-sponsored program, you'll have all your academics. You'll be able to use some of your support for that as well, your financial support for those programs. The university in itself is quite unique to many other universities, as the university is focused on computer science, engineering, and sustainability because of the country that it stays in. That whole country, as well as the university, is focused on climate change. And actually the university itself is completely powered by renewable energy, which is really cool. So if you're interested in being in an environment that is very unique in that regard, highly recommend Iceland. The program itself is quite affordable as well. In the program, you'll have included your housing, cultural activities like going hiking, exploring the southern coast, going to historical and ancient pools and caves, which is really awesome. So if you're an outdoor person, highly recommend Reykjavik, and it's extremely accessible to other countries. So it's still in the same line in vein of accessibility to traveling. Reykjavik is the center and it's the hub of Iceland, so it's very easy for you to go and travel for that program. Like I said earlier, the focus of that program for academics is business, computer science, and engineering. So you'll have a number of business management courses and options in marketing, computer science in terms of I think there's some unique ones in like gaming and your standard computer science basic courses, and engineering courses in like mechanical engineering and electrical engineering. So it's a very fun program, highly recommend. The resident director is awesome. You'll have opportunities for you to kind of go touch and feel and do the academics, and there's support for you through the whole process if this is your first time going abroad as well. Anything else that you'd like me to touch on, Kirsty?
That's great. Thanks, Leanne.
No problem.
And no language prerequisites. But I think maybe that would be the only thing to add, that the English-speaking university, you can take all your courses in English.
Yes, thank you. That is correct. It is an English-speaking. Most all classes are in English, just because that is the business language of Iceland as well. It's not in Icelandic, but you do have opportunities to take language courses if you do want to learn the local language too.
Awesome. And then our next program that we're going to highlight, we have a little video of Budapest. So this program is with a different organization called CEA, and this program is based in Budapest. There's two different programs that you can choose from, one that's focusing more on business and economics, and then another one that focuses more on social sciences. And then you're studying at a local university, and similar to the program in Iceland, it is an English speaking university, so you can take all your coursework in English with local students. So no language prerequisites for that. And there's lots of excursions that are built into the program that will take you all over Hungary, including to a 2,000-year-old city, which is a unique thing for us. So this is one that is also, in terms of our programs in Europe, one of the more cost-effective ones. It has a $6,000 program fee, but also just cost of living in Hungary is a lot less expensive than here. And then we have another program in that general region in Prague that I'm going to ask Masha to speak to briefly.
Yeah, so I actually went to go visit Budapest. It was the first city that I visited when I was in Europe, and I can vouch for all the beautiful places you saw. It's honestly amazing, and I was only there for 24 hours, and we walked the whole city. It was great. But the program in Prague, so there's two different ones. I'm sure that Kirsty will mention it later, but there's two different ones. There's one at a local university called Charles University, which is probably the oldest university in the Czech Republic. And then there's also the University of Economics, which is where I studied. And that has a lot of international students, and it's primarily for business students, which was my major, is my major. And basically I went on not a CEA program, but an ISA program, and I'm actually an ISA ambassador. So it stands for International Studies Abroad. And they were able to take us all over the Czech Republic to all of the main cities and really teach us about Czech culture. And also at the University of Economics, I was able to take a class to fulfill a UCOR, and it was the history of Czech lands. And so we were able to learn about the history of the Czech Republic and its relationship with nearby European countries, and basically how Czech Republic became its own republic. And basically Prague is amazing. Prague is even cheaper than Budapest, and I'm pretty sure that my program fee was also around $6,000, give or take a couple hundred. And it was just an incredible experience, and especially the cost of living. Like once I got there, I couldn't understand like how it could be so cheap in one place, but so expensive back home.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Like Masha said, there's two programs in Prague, and so we're not highlighting the other one right now, but know that there are many options for different disciplines. All right, and then the next program, is a different type of program in terms of how it works credit-wise, or financially for SU. So American College of Greece is one of our exchange programs. And so students from American College of Greece come to SU, and SU students go to American College of Greece. And so there aren't program fees for exchange programs. Essentially, we just swap students from the different universities. So you pay SU tuition, and an American College of Greece student pays American College of Greece tuition, and then we just do that swap. So then you're just responsible for paying housing directly to American College of Greece while you're there. It is a beautiful campus. It's an English-speaking university, but 80% of the student population is Greek. And so you are taking classes with Greek students in English. They have a very strong international student center where they provide a lot of support to international exchange students. They do orientation where they teach you how to use the public transportation system in Athens. They also do an excursion to a Greek island for the weekend with all of the international students, and other excursions throughout. So this is a really great program for immersion, as well as the others at a local university to experience what it's like for locals. And then The next structure would be our study center programs. In comparison to the local universities, study centers aren't necessarily taking classes with local students. They're programs that are designed specifically for study abroad students. And so your classmates will be other students from US institutions. With the study centers, there's a lot of support built into this structure. And there's also a knowledge in designing these programs that students are coming in maybe not with a lot of knowledge of the local culture or language. And so there's a lot of integration and immersion built into even the courses that you're taking. There you might be going out into the city as part of your class, more potentially hands-on in that regard. And so we're going to highlight some of our study centers, and knowing that there also are some kind of hybrid programs where some of like these categories that I'm listing, there are some programs that have multiple pieces built in, like they might have a study center and a local university component, so you can get both experiences. So the first one that we're highlighting is with IES in Granada. So this program in Granada is with another organization called IES, and they have a study center there. This is one where it can be a hybrid. They also partner with the University of Granada. So if you wanted to take courses outside of the study center in Spanish, if you had an advanced level of Spanish, then you could take courses at the university, and there's a lot of different disciplines that you can choose from there. At the study center itself, it's good for students who are studying Spanish. There's lots of coursework in Spanish, as well as some coursework in English, in communications. There's some courses that can count for UCOR classes at SU, like the Islamic Art and Architecture of Spain. And then they also offer an optional internship which is very customizable depending on what you're interested in doing. And then they similarly do excursions around Spain, and they do a week-long trip to Morocco, since IES has a study center there as well. So you would go to Morocco and meet up with the students who are studying there and travel around for a week as a comparative study to see, since there's a lot of Islamic, Arabic historical influence and architecture and art still in Spain, kind of seeing that relationship between the two countries. And then the other study center program that we'll highlight too is also with IES. This is a new program to our list this year. And the reason why we added it is because it is actually a quarter length program. Most SU sponsored and exchange programs are a full semester length. And so normally students go abroad fall semester, since that aligns with our fall quarter. But very few programs allow students to just go winter quarter or spring quarter. And this one in Berlin allows you to just study abroad for winter quarter. And so it's a very cost-effective program with a $2,000 program fee that includes all of your housing for that quarter. And this is specifically for business students. So your coursework would be in business, sustainability, and innovation, like entrepreneurship minors and majors. This would be a great option. No language prerequisites. All your courses at the study center there are in English. You're living in apartments, and they do excursions around Germany during the period of time that you're there. And then the next structure are experiential field study programs. And these are programs that are normally at study centers. There are some that are at local universities, but this label essentially just means that there's some sort of really intentionally hands-on experiential component built into the program, like an internship or research or field studies attached to your classes. So we're going to highlight just a few of these as well. The first one is the program in Dublin that Sam did. So we're going to show a little video and then let Sam talk about the program. All right, so this is CAPA Dublin, and I just asked Sam if you want to share a little bit about the program.
Yeah, so the program is really cool. We're set in Griffith College, which is in South Dublin. There's a rivalry between North and South Dublin, but South Dublin is better. And it's like this really cute neighborhood. And basically, you live on campus at Griffith College, and it's a mainly international school. So there are Irish students that do commute, and then there's a lot of international students that live on campus, which was really cool. Like I still have friends who are like from Paris and Germany that I still keep in touch with. So that was a really interesting aspect. But we're taking classes with those students as well. So it was a really nice atmosphere of like getting the Irish perspective and like an international perspective as well in classes. And And yeah, it's normally a pretty like small group, about like 20 of us from like Kappa, from all different places in the US. And so you kind of like form a little bond, but it's really easy to make friends outside of that. But yeah, I really enjoyed my time there. Dublin is a really walkable city. I walked everywhere. They also Kappa helps you set up a card, a transportation card, and they like reload it with money, so like you're not paying for transportation, which is really nice. And you can take a bus anywhere in Dublin. I even made my friends go to IKEA with me. It was a 40-minute bus ride. So literally the buses will take you anywhere in Dublin. And yeah, it's a great like smaller city, but like there's always things to do. There's always things to kind of see, new bars. They have very great pub culture, very trendy young people live there. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Sam. Dari, perfect. This was just kind of an overview to go along with what Sam said. You touched on all of these. This one does also have that optional internship course that I don't think you did an internship. Did you, Sam? Okay. But this one would be optional for credit. It's through Kappa. They have an internship course. And with their programs too, they have centers kind of all over the world. And so my understanding is that they do have sometimes integration with the other programs in other cities. I don't know if you experienced that at all.
I did not.
Okay. There might be that opportunity that that we can explore. And one thing that I want to really highlight also right now is that after this session, in 25 minutes, our partners in Dublin from Kappa will be live. It's very late their time, but they will be joining us. They have live music from Ireland, and we'll just be talking about Irish culture. And if you have more questions about the program, they can answer it at that time too. So I'm actually going to put the link to the Zoom room in the chat now, so you have it, and then I'll put it in at the end. So hopefully you all can join us after this. All right. And then the next experiential program is in London. This is a program through Arcadia University, and they have a study center in London. And this one, all students on the program do an internship. That's a requirement of it. So you take 4 classes. One of them is an internship. And then you can take classes at the study center, or they also partner with a range of universities in London. So in terms of different disciplines, it's great for most disciplines at SU because the internships themselves are pretty customizable, and then you have all these other universities that you can choose classes from to take. And with this, there's also excursions around going to Wales and Stonehenge and the Harry Potter studio. And then you have an option of homestay for this, or housing, pardon me, to either live with a family or a pension, which is similar to kind of a dorm guest house type experience. And then the last one that we'll highlight in this category is DIS in Copenhagen. That's the Danish Institute for Study Abroad. Their programs are very experiential. DIS is its own kind of study center for study abroad students from the US. And all of their professors are professionals in their field. And so all students kind of apply to a specific, discipline. And then within that discipline, you take one class that they call your core class that has travel field study built into that class. In addition to that one class, you can take classes outside of that discipline. You can take other core classes that have that field travel included, but you have to take at least one. And so students are traveling and really learning from professionals in the field and getting hands-on experience in that field. So we're going to watch, there's a short video that's highlighting one of the core classes for students who would be coming in with environmental science background, like applying for the environmental science track, but they have tons of different tracks. So this is just one example.
This course is about how and why climate changed in the past and how we can use that knowledge to say something meaningful about the current and future climate changes. The students that are interested in taking this course generally come from an environmental science background, but it's relevant for all students who know a little bit about natural science and are interested in learning about the science behind climate change, not only the impacts. During Korkos Week, we go on a short study tour to Odsherred, which is an area about an hour-and-a-half drive from Copenhagen. There we study how the glaciers shaped the landscape at the end of the last ice age, as well as how humans have changed the landscape significantly in the last 150 years. Later in the semester, we go on a week-long study tour to Iceland, where the glaciers are still active today. We study how the glaciers affect the area around them, how they shape the landscape, and how to make projections for these glaciers in the future. Some of the things we do on the long tour are visiting the glacier lagoon in front of one of the glaciers that started forming 80 years ago. It's a beautiful area, but it wouldn't be there if we didn't have rising temperatures. We also go on a glacier hike where it becomes very evident how the glacier has changed significantly in the last decades. We also go into a man-made ice tunnel that allows us to look at the layers inside a glacier and better understand how the glaciers react to climate changes, what factors determine if they grow or shrink. After having taken this course, it's my hope and belief that students take with them a feeling of being empowered to participate in climate change discussions because they understand the science behind it.
So again, that's just one example in one discipline of one of those core classes. And you can see how it's very experiential. Students are out in the field, and that travel component is part of it. And then the last type that we're highlighting are our faculty-led programs. And so these are programs where SU professors are actually going with you on the program. They are designing it. Oftentimes it's in relationship with a local university too. And so the one that we have in Europe is our French in France and Africa program. This is through the French department at SU, specifically for students who are minoring and majoring in French. So your coursework will be all in French and about there are some elective courses that you can take that might satisfy other requirements or electives in if you have a another major or minor. But the majority of the focus is French language and French culture. Students spend winter quarter in Paris and you take classes at the Sorbonne. And then you have the option to also then study abroad spring quarter in winter and in Morocco and Senegal to have a comparative experience. And for this, you can go in at different levels of French. You can go after your first year of French and then winter or fall quarter, you take kind of an intensive class getting ready to go winter, spring, and then you can finish out your intermediate level and into the advanced level. Or if you have already done 2 years, then you're starting out at the advanced level and able to finish out the requirements for your major minor. So we also wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about scholarships as well to study abroad in Europe. There are program-specific scholarships. So like CAPA and ISA and API, they all have scholarships that you can apply for specifically if you're doing one of their programs. So that would be helpful to look at their websites, chat with representatives to see what you might be eligible for. Whether they have need-based scholarships oftentimes, sometimes they have diversity scholarships, sometimes they have scholarships for specific majors like STEM fields. So checking that out is great. There's also need-based scholarships and diversity scholarships. Fund for Education Abroad is an organization that has many different scholarships, some need-based, some diversity-based, but you complete one application and then the reviewers determine what different scholarships you might qualify for. And so that's really a nice way to apply to a lot of scholarships without having to do all of the work of applying to so many scholarships. And then the Gilman, this is a scholarship through the US State Department, and it's specifically for students who receive federal Pell Grants. And it's applicable for any program. They oftentimes have a preference for students who are studying abroad in non-traditional locations or doing non-traditional things. So that could be like within Europe, maybe studying abroad in Eastern Europe or Central Europe is sometimes considered non-traditional, like Masha was saying. And then also doing an internship or experiential program or service learning would also be a way to make your application stand out. And then there are language scholarships, fewer applicable to Europe, like the Africa flagship, that shouldn't even be listed there to study in Europe. But there are some. The Critical Language Scholarship is its own program that you apply to a specific language, and it's a summer program that's fully funded through the US State Department. So you would go to whichever country they have set up for you to do an intensive language study of that particular language. So with these, just kind of our advice is to plan early in applying for scholarships. Some of the deadlines can be a year before you'd actually be going. And so definitely wanting to make sure that you don't miss deadlines and opportunities to apply for scholarships. And then also use SU resources as you're applying. Our office can certainly be used as a resource if you have an essay that you'd like us to take a look at and or kind of brainstorm how you might even want to approach an essay to make it strong. And then much better at this than us is our Office of Fellowships on campus, since that's their whole role, is to support students in getting scholarships and fellowships. And they have maybe a better eye for what would make your application stand out than we would. So they are definitely a really good resource too. So from here, next steps, the first step in actually planning is attending one of our info sessions in our office, and we offer these every day. They're all virtual right now, and you can sign up for those through our website. 30 minutes, we go over different types of programs, credits, finances, more of those like logistical pieces than we did today. So after this, or attending the info session, you'd be meeting with either Jen or myself in our group advising. So our first advising appointment that we do with students is in a group setting. So 2 to 5 students generally, it's fairly small. But we go more in depth about your goals, personal, academic, professional, and how to then find programs that meet those goals. We also spend a lot of time more intentionally talking about finances and going through a budget together so that you are really empowered with information to find a program that's going to meet your budgetary needs. And then we're also happy to meet with you as many times as you'd like after that. So there's no requirement that you meet with us beyond that, but we are happy to meet with you as many times as you'd like. And then after you've narrowed down to a program, then you apply. And if you're looking at a sponsored or exchange program, the application deadline for SU internally is February 1st for any programs happening during the next academic year. So any of the programs that we highlighted today, with the exception of the faculty-led program in France, you'd be applying by February 1st to go next year. And then after you have applied and hopefully you're accepted to a program, then there are some pre-departure steps that you complete, including a pre-departure orientation that is through our office, where we talk about health and safety, as well as cultural, ethical forms of cultural engagement to help you as you prepare. And then you go abroad, which is the fun part, and hopefully makes all of the paperwork that you have done leading up to that and research and steps that you've completed all worth it. And then when you come back from studying abroad, there are opportunities to still stay connected to your experience and integrate that back into your time at SU and beyond. There's some more kind of social gatherings with students who have studied abroad to share your experience with others. We've also had some workshops with our career engagement office on how to best maximize your study abroad experience on a resume, that kind of thing. So we'll be connecting with you when you're returning as well. And then coming up, we do have some events. So this is in the middle of our Red Hawks Around the World week. Today is highlighting programs in Europe. And so we hope that you can all join us for the session happening with our colleagues in Dublin. I'm going to put let's see, I'm going to put it again in the chat since I think we lost that when we all left. So that's there again. So that's at 1:30 today, so in 10 minutes. And then there's also a tour of Lisbon with API's resident director in Lisbon that's available all week on our website. And so that's highlighting API's program in Portugal. I don't know if, Leanne, you want to say anything more about that now?
I'm on mute. I apologize. Yeah, the program in Lisbon, Portugal is quite unique. If you're looking for kind of that Mediterranean experience, super affordable, Lisbon is a fantastic option for that. Similar to what you were mentioning about Eastern Europe, Lisbon, Portugal also is a really affordable way to travel, explore, eat your way around the country. Carlos is the resident director who is hosting that video. And so he's going to show you a tour of Lisbon, the kind of cultural components of it, what all the unique aspects of Lisbon in itself, because it's a cultural hub for art. It is also the Portuguese center for their Renaissance as well. It's also one of the oldest cities in Europe that are still standing. So super fun, really unique opportunity. The program in itself is focused on humanities and business and social sciences. So there's quite a few options there, as well as Portuguese language at the Nova Institute, which is the new University of Lisbon. So yeah, check it out. It's really fun, super quick. I think it's only about 8 minutes long. So if you want to know more about Lisbon, feel free to check it out. We'd love to see you there.
I watched the video, Leanne, and it made me want to go to Lisbon right now. So I'm hoping that opens up soon for us to be able to go and visit. And then for the remainder of this week, tomorrow we're highlighting programs in Latin America at the same time as this session, 12:30 to 1:30. And then directly following that, there's going to be an Argentine cooking class with our partner in Buenos Aires. He'll be joining us live and teaching you how to make empanadas and alfajores and how to prepare mate tea. So that should also be very fun. And then on Friday, we have a virtual Hawks Abroad Fair. If you are a returning student to SU, you might remember that we've had a fair every year that happens in a big room with everyone very close together, lots of people, which we cannot do now. So we've created a virtual exhibit hall that you can go into, learn about programs, and then our partners like Leanne will be in a Zoom room that you can then go and talk to her directly if you have questions or just want to learn more about the programs that you're considering. And then we also have Masha is an ambassador for ISA, one of our partners as well. And so she's going to talk a little bit about some things that you have planned.
Yeah, so hi again, everybody. I'm Masha. I'm an ambassador for ISA, which is International Studies Abroad, along with Stella Roth, who studied abroad in Argentina, I'm pretty sure, in Latin America. So she'll be there tomorrow to talk about this, but we're going to be hosting a study abroad panel sponsored by ISA, and it's basically just going to be students who have studied abroad through SU who can tell you a little bit about their experience, all from different majors, backgrounds, and from different programs. So just Stella and myself are from Europe and South America, but there will be much more, and there will be people who went on study tours with professors as well. So if you're interested in doing shorter programs or programs with professors from SU, that will also be something that we cover. So that is going to be November 5th from 12:30 to 1:15 p.m. That's a Thursday, so kind of around the same time as this, just a little bit shorter. And there's the Zoom link for you. This will also be on Connect SU shortly, But if you want more information, please scan the QR code and we will be sending that to you. And then we have one more thing to share with you. Yeah, so ISA is also sponsoring a raffle that we will be hosting. So to be entered into the raffle, please scan the QR code. You guys can also take a picture, and if you share it with friends, that will count as a double entry for you. And it'll be a chance to win an Uber Eats gift card, and we will be hosting the draw for it at the end of fall quarter. So there will be 2 prize winners, so there's definitely more than just one chance to win. So please be sure to scan this QR code and submit it. And if you can, please email roths4, which is Stella's email, at seattleu.edu once you've submitted your information, just to confirm that we have your entry for the raffle. Cool, thank you so much.
Thank you, Masha. We do have a couple minutes for questions. We're going to be also jumping over to the other session, the Hour of Irish Hospitality, and again, hope to see you all there. But if you do have any short questions now, we can certainly answer them. Otherwise, definitely schedule appointments with us, start the process of doing an info session, and we're excited to plan with you. All right, we have a question. Are there any internship programs for psychology and criminal justice majors? Yes, definitely. A lot of our programs that offer internships, so actually on our website, you can search programs by ones that offer internships specifically, and most programs that offer internships are very customizable. And so that's where they're generally open to most majors. So of the ones that we shared today, like the program in Dublin, certainly the program in London, the internship program in London, those would be ones that would offer that for sure. Any other questions? All right, well, thank you all for joining us today. Again, send follow-up email questions, come talk to us. But we're really grateful that you are here. I'm very grateful to our alums who are here to share their valuable student experience. For Leanne to talk about API. And again, I hope to see you in a couple minutes. All right, have a good rest of your day.
Thank you, bye.